Welcome back to my channel. My name is Peyton Hawes and we are reviewing Love is Blind Season 8 episodes 4 and 5 today. I've been doing my previous episodes one episode at a time and I messed up with my notes and I was not separating my episode 4 notes from my episode 5 notes. So I was like, well, I guess I'm combining these episodes into one video today. So I'm just gonna go down couple by couple and tell you everything that happened in episodes 4 and 5. And try and make it make sense. So let's just get right into it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not. Check out the description box below for the previous episodes if you haven't seen them yet. And I also have done recaps and reviews of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives if that's a show that you watched, and I'll be doing season 2 when that comes up too. So stay tuned, subscribe for more. All right, and my notes are over here on my computer, so I'll be looking over here a lot, sorry. So first, love triangle, Devin, Brittany, and Virginia. We'll start with Devin and Brittany. Devin opens up to Brittany about his back injury. So he had a back injury. As we know, he's done basketball, lived and breathed it his whole life. And he talked about a time that he started abusing ibuprofen, I think he said. So basically he was taking ibuprofen for his pain and eventually it wasn't working. So he was taking more and more, wasn't working, more and more. And he'd get to sometimes even 20 in a day. And I was like, how'd you not have to get your stomach pumped? That's crazy. Brittany started tearing up a little bit and she was affirming him and thanking him for trusting her with that information and feeling comfortable enough with sharing that with her. And so she decided to open up about something as well. And she's talked about her sexuality a little bit. She said that she had been with men most of her life. She thought that that's all that she was going to do. And she decided to explore at one point with women. And she was with a woman for a while and who wanted marriage with her. And she just had this moment where she felt like she couldn't see herself marrying a woman. That was never a part of her picture or her plan for life, and that's not what she wanted, and she wants to be with a man. And Devin was kind of taken back by this. He wasn't expecting it, and he wasn't just like, no, I'm not into that, but you can tell had never experienced that before. He said he's never been with a woman who had those feelings or those thoughts, and so it's definitely something he wanted to sit with and think about. And she was like, obviously, I would want you to just say, that's fine, that's not a big deal, that's okay, that's fine, let's keep moving forward. And she's like, but I respect you as a person, and I want you to be honest, and if those are your feelings, and I need to respect that. And I think that left a little like crumb of doubt in Devin that started getting him to like really have to sit and grapple with that. I feel like we're getting down to the end here where people are proposing and there's only so much time left, and I think that started pushing him to lean towards Virginia a little bit. And then in episode 5 they come back for another date. Brittany basically breaks up with Devin, and it was a very nice, kind way that it was done. She's like, I woke up this morning and I was excited, but I was also a little bit sad, and after our conversation and I opened up about my sexuality and my feelings, I just felt like I was realizing that, I'm trying to remember exactly how she worded it, but really it just came down to her not really feeling like they were each other's person, and Devin agreed. And so they ended things there, just felt like they'd be better as friends. And I was kind of like a little sad about it, but it also made sense to me. I feel like I agreed in the last date, the way that it went. They're probably better as friends. And so if we move on to Devin and Virginia's date, Virginia says, I'm only here because I see a future with you, Devin. And Devin opens up to Virginia about the same story with his back injury and the pills and all of this stuff. And he talks about how, I didn't mention this yet, but he mentions how this whole experience brought him closer to God, and how he never rejected God by any means, but he was putting him on the back burner while he was dealing with all of this stuff, and ultimately leaned into prayer and trying to figure out how to get through life through this difficulty. And he's like, if I don't have basketball, what do I have to live for? Because it's so important to him. I've definitely had experiences in my own life where I sat there wondering, what do I have to live for too? Oh my gosh, am I gonna cry? This is not about me. In different circumstances, I've felt that. And that's a really, really difficult emotion to have as a human being. And I really felt for Devin in that moment. Virginia was also tearing up when he was talking about this, and she really affirmed, and she was reminding him of who he is and about what marriage is and how marriage is going to be fun, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And when your partner falls, are you going to be there for them? Or are you going to be there praying with them? Because that's what she wants. She's like, oh, I need my partner to be there for me when that happens, just like I'm going to be there for my partner when stuff like that happens. And I want to pray with my partner. That's so important to me. And he's like, I want that too. And they end up coming back and giving each other gifts. Virginia gets a cutting board and a necklace, and the cutting board had a reference to cooking, and it said something like, when you cook for someone, you give them a piece of your heart. And so he's saying that he wanted to give his heart to Virginia, and it said he referred to himself as her future sous chef, and it was just this cute thing. I can't remember what the necklace's significance was. Anywho, Virginia gives Devin a passport cover that matches her passport, and there's like a camera, and was there something else? Oh, and her grandmother's ring. So she talks about her grandparents' relationship and how they were married their whole lives until they died, and they had 6 kids together, and it was just a way to symbolize the kind of relationship that she wants. And the passport and the camera symbolize their travels together and the things that they'll get to experience in life together. And so that was a cute thing that they shared. So that pretty much sums up everything that happened with that love triangle, ending with Devin and Virginia. So I'm sure that a proposal's happening soon. Next love triangle, we've got Dave, Molly, and Lauren. So there's a lot of drama in this relationship. We all know how I feel about Dave right now. I will say there were times in these episodes where I really felt for David. I felt bad for him in certain moments. I genuinely believe that he battles with different versions of himself and who he wants to be and who he shows up as. You can see that there's pain for him in that. And I genuinely believe that there's a lot of growth that he needs to have, and we all do, honestly. And so I don't want to be judging too harshly in that, but I felt bad. But at the same time, you're doing and saying a lot of manipulative things with these girls, and they don't deserve that. I am shocked how it ended up. I genuinely believed that it was going to be him and Molly in the end, but basically Lauren confronted Dave about how Molly's telling people in the pod squad like that she's your number one. And he's like, oh, I didn't really want to get into the girl drama. I was like, excuse me, the girl drama? This is not girl drama. This is drama you're creating between the 3 of you. Don't call it girl drama. Excuse me, what? And it was weird because in that date with Molly where she's talking about that, Dave was asking Molly her ring preferences, and Dave tells Molly, you've been my number one since day one. He says that to her. So Molly goes out all excited and tells everyone about it. And she's telling the pod squad that Dave's going to end things with Lauren in the next day, or that he alluded to that happening. And so Lauren's like, whoa, what's going on? And he tells Lauren, like, I did not tell Molly that she was my number one because you're my number one. And so it solidifies things with her a little bit, and ends up coming back and tells Lauren that he loves her. And so Molly leaves, and now it's Dave and Lauren. So I'm sure that proposal is going to happen. And I'm just like, no, Dave does propose to Lauren. What am I talking about? I literally wrote the engagement notes in a different section, and I'm just like, hold on. So she says yes, they're gonna get married. They're engaged. I am so eager to see how things play out when they see each other in person. I just don't feel like they click very well. And I feel like they are creating their own stories of what it's going to be like in their heads, and I don't feel like it's going to work out. I'm a very optimistic person. I don't feel like it's going to work out with them, but we will see how all of that drama unfolds. Then we've got Alex, Madison, Mason, and Meg. Let's see, how do we split this up? Let's do Alex and Madison first. So Alex is asking about Madison's vision for her dream home, and that's not really that important, honestly, right now. And so they end up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend because Alex says that she wants that, or Madison tells Alex that she wants him, and she says that he's been her number one since day one. They become officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Mason congratulates Alex for having a girlfriend, but doesn't know that it's Madison, which is kind of awkward. And that was kind of crazy. Mason and Madison end up having a date, and it almost looked like Mason was about to propose to Madison, and Madison broke up with him, and he was shocked and really let down, you can tell. But I don't know, he didn't seem that excited going in either. He just seemed uncomfortable, but it sounded like he was gonna propose to her. So I don't know, it was kind of weird. And then, so Madison goes into the pods and tells everyone like that they broke up, and Meg, am I going to be a second option? How is all of this going to go? Meg goes into a date with Mason, asking for affirmation on their relationship again. And Mason tells Meg he's trying to affirm her now that things are off with Madison because she's with Alex now. And he's like, I put a 10 next to your name in my journal and no one else got a 10, and you've been my number one since day one. And I'm like, hold on, I'm so confused, because it genuinely seemed like he was torn 50-50. I see him and Meg as being the better couple than him and Madison would have been, but he was so torn. And I'm like, you were just referring to Meg as being your number two in the pods with the guys in the pod squad. And I'm like, I don't know. I've got some trust issues with him. So I don't know how that's going to play out. He's probably going to propose to her in the next episode, I'm guessing. But I don't know. I'm keeping my eye out on that kind of thing. Sarah and Ben. Ben tells Sarah that he loves her. He says that he stayed out of all of the politics and didn't vote in the last election, which really annoyed Sarah. And Sarah's like, I feel like we need to talk about more important things like politics and make sure that we are aligned in just like how we feel the world should be and in human rights and things like that. And they end up chatting a little bit. He didn't vote in the last election and he was staying out of all that stuff, which annoyed her. But they came back in for another date, and Sarah says she feels like this is love that they're experiencing. And Ben tells Sarah that he doesn't want her to feel like she has to teach him all of these things, and that he is willing to learn about this stuff for her, and that he does of course believe in human rights and equality and things like that, and he's willing to go in and educate himself on these things. And I really feel like that's all that she's really asking for in this circumstance. And so now they're saying that they love each other, and Ben proposes to Sarah, and she screams yes. And the reveal was super cute. You can obviously tell they're nervous and excited all at the same time, and there's just little tiny bits of awkwardness in every reveal, I feel like. But it was cute, and I genuinely believe that they were attracted to each other and that they're really excited. I'm sure that there's gonna be, I don't know, I feel like there might be some type of drama that occurs with them a little bit, but not in a way that they can't work through. I don't know, I do feel like the religious stuff still concerns me a little bit, and there might be some religious stuff that's hard for him, and there might be some political stuff that's hard for her. So I'm just gonna watch them and see how it plays out, because I feel like in all the other areas they connect so well, but politics and religion can be really big for a lot of people. So we will see how that plays out. But their reveal was super cute. They were lovey-dovey all over each other, just wanting to eat each other up, I feel like. Who's last? Just Daniel and Taylor. I'm saving Daniel and Taylor for last because I have some thoughts and I'm curious. So Daniel tells Taylor that if she ever needed to leave last minute for her dad or anything like that, and she didn't have time to tell him, and he wanted her to be able to feel comfortable doing that, knowing that he would come find her. If I didn't hear from you or whatever, because you need to go do something like that, I'll come find you. And that made her feel like so good. It almost felt like a movie. I would come find you. I love you and I'm here for you. And I was just like, could be cute rom-com moment, could be creepy. But like, it feels more rom-com moment, but that's in my notes. This is in my notes. And then he starts saying, I wonder if we've ever crossed paths before. And then quickly says, that's weird, I'm sorry. And she's like, that's not weird. And I'm like, why does he think that's weird? If they have been living around in the same area and he's like, oh, I wonder if we've ever crossed paths. That's not a weird thing to say, but because you're like, oh, that's weird, I'm sorry, and making it weird, I'm like, because there's a drama that one of the guys has supposedly known who the girl was the whole time or knew what she looked like. And so I'm like, I wrote in my notes, I'm starting to wonder if Daniel is the guy. And then they give each other gifts, and it's kind of like, he gives Taylor a stocking, she gives Daniel an ornament, and they both have this obsession for Christmas. If he is the guy, maybe he knows she has an obsession with Christmas and is intentionally bringing up the Christmas stuff because he knows she loves Christmas. They start talking about their biggest insecurities, and both of them are like about their bodies. He didn't say directly was his height, but he just said he was kind of like smaller, and he's like, and I eventually like grew. It's not like whatever, but it's just like something he thinks about. And she talks about how her body has been an insecurity of hers, and in past relationships she's been with someone who was liking all of these beautiful girls on Instagram and didn't want to post her on Instagram, which was hard for her and made her feel really insecure. It was shocking to me because I feel like she's beautiful, so I was like, oh my gosh. She said she doesn't have a scale, she won't weigh herself anymore, and I was like, does she think that she's big? Because girl, she ain't big. And there ain't nothing wrong with being big either. But if she's insecure about being too big, if that's what sometimes you just have to sit here, and just when you think that you have all these things to be insecure about and you see someone who is just like drop dead gorgeous, so you're like, oh my gosh, I envy this about you, and you realize they have the same insecurities that you have, you're like, hold on. And it's weird because people can have actual attributes that, I don't know. It's so weird. Honestly, we're all just thinking about ourselves and what we look like, and nobody freaking cares. Nobody freaking cares. Because they're just sitting there thinking about their own insecurities. They're not looking at you and staring at yours. We're just projecting. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I got my eye out on Daniel because he's saying some weird stuff about talking about her Instagram. He's like, what's your username? And she tells him, and she's like, do you follow me? And he's like, no, I would know if I followed you. I have this thing where I see people's profile pictures in my head and I could just see it. I would know. And she's like, but you don't know what I look like. And he's like, well, yeah, but like your username, I would know. And I was like, what is going on? Sorry, some of that was for thumbnail capturing, so sorry. But I was just like, girl, I'm starting to think it might be Daniel. And I won't be mad if it's Daniel, honestly. I'll be mad for Taylor. But there was a part of me at one point where I was wondering if it was Alex, and I was really hoping it wasn't because I really like Alex a lot. But I'm starting to wonder if it's Daniel. So, oh my gosh, did I really just do 2 episodes and I made this faster than all my other ones? I didn't ramble as much this time. Go me. Well, I'm gonna go watch episode 6 later. Actually, I need to go grocery shopping and take my kids to the playground and play with them and do some housework. But then I'm gonna come home and watch episode 6, and I will either film that one later today, or actually I'm gonna try and film that one later today because I'm pretty sure the next episodes drop tomorrow and I have work. So yes, stay tuned for episode 6. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified for my future uploads. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you stick around and join our community. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.